We see a virtual reality fantasy game called Chrono Life that gives freedom, romance, and travel and welcomes our hero into its Chrono Life. Our hero is a young man named Lee Jiwoo, who is not accepted by other game players for the hunting party because he is a tyro who wants to play for pleasure and has trash equipment. Jiwoo is frustrated with the game as no one accepts him, and he spent a lot to buy a sword. A beautiful girl appears and asks him to hunt with her at the party, and he accepts it. Jiwoo went to the woods with her, and he told her about his sword. Jiwoo bought a 55,001 beginner package, and he got the 3 Knights double-edged sword from it. Jiwoo makes fancy casseroles, and when they reach them, the girl showed her true colors and stabs Jiwoo. The girl persuades Jiwoo to go to the middle of the forest just to kill him. The hunting party was lied to as to why she did it with a loser and suggested he use enhanced equipment. That girl abused Jiwoo and his parents. She cut Jiwoo into 3 parts, and Jiwoo got his hand cut. The girl gets her class changed to hidden and her job changed to goddess of life. She successfully killed 1,000 people, and there is only one final quest left for her. On that day, Jiwoo learned something about the truth of the game, that it follows the law of the jungle. Jiwoo's character died in the game, and he respawned in the safe area. Jiwoo revived and took that girl and others' talk to heart. Jiwoo remembers a boy who told him to upgrade his equipment to 11. Jiwoo takes out his reinforcing hammer, which increases the equipment's enhancement value by 1. Jiwoo finds upgrading the equipment the fastest way to become strong and uses it on his sword, but he fails to upgrade it, and his sword is destroyed. Jiwoo tries to upgrade his +5 iron blood leather gloves, but fails to enhance them, and his equipment is again destroyed. When equipment breaks, it is reinforced and gains strength. Jiwoo lost everything and was sitting on the ground. A newbie boy came to Jiwoo and gave him a wooden stick, as Jiwoo had nothing except his underwear, and the boy took his leave. Jiwoo strikes the stick with his reinforcing hammer and successfully enhances it by +1. Again, he hits it, and it is enhanced by +2. Jiwoo wonders why it was successfully enhanced with such a trash item. The wooden stick reached +6, and it seems to Jiwoo that it will break sooner or later because the chances of failure are high when it reaches a higher level of enhancement. So he enhanced it repeatedly till the evening, and Jiwoo gets congratulated for achieving the maximum enhancement of the wooden stick. The wooden stick reached +99 enhancement and has incredible power damage. Jiwoo still wonders because, after enhancing it 10 times, the probability of another success is less than 5%. Suddenly, the stick fell from his hand. He caught it, but mistakenly hit the ground with it. The +99 wooden stick goes through the oceans, the planet, and space, and other players wonder what just happened. Jiwoo was unable to believe that the continent had split apart. On that day, an extreme record was set in the history of VR games. Jiwoo got the message that a player had been killed by his attack, and his notoriety increased. Jiwoo made 850,617 players play over, and his notoriety increased quickly. Jiwoo remembers every moment when that goddess girl abused his parents and others rejected him and told him to learn. Jiwoo is burning with revenge with his powerful +99 wooden stick. In reality, Jiwoo is nobody and has an ordinary personality. Jiwoo has no abilities, neither in sports nor in academics. In the game, Jiwoo is around the Bronze 4 level. The sun is bright, and Jiwoo is moving into the city, but Jiwoo collides with a man. That man bullied Jiwoo by picking him up with his clothes, while others tried to calm the man. But Jiwoo is not the same in the game as he is in reality, and Jiwoo instigated him by calling him a pig and hitting him with his wooden stick. Jiwoo uses his wooden stick, hits the man, and the man falls so far from the place and gets his game over that everyone wonders about Jiwoo's power. The story turns here. Jiwoo is the strongest now and the main character, but he got the message that his wooden stick durability is falling down. The wooden stick's durability is left at 3 out of 5, and Jiwoo gets a message to repair it. Jiwoo went to a corner in an alleyway and saw an overview of his wooden stick, which is a basic weapon for beginners. It has very low durability, and breaks after a few hits. The stick's durability makes Jiwoo think, and he is left with only 3 hits. Jiwoo remembers the people who ignored him and degraded him. As Jiwoo thinks about it, he starts burning with the flame of anger and revenge to teach those lessons for ignoring him and the girl who killed him. However, Jiwoo accepts the truth. He left with 3 hits and went to the Valley of the Dead. Jiwoo steps up to the skulls, and the ground starts shaking. Suddenly, lightning strikes from the sky to the ground, and the strongest boss monster, the twin-headed dragon Eurus, comes out from the shadows and roars as Jiwoo has crossed the boundary of the dead. This is the place where life and death intersect. The dragon called him a foolish mortal, and said to make him suffer, but Jiwoo uses his stick and melts the head of the dragon. Now, Jiwoo's left with 2 hits, and he bullies the dragon. It apologizes to Jiwoo and asks him for his identity, but Jiwoo doesn't bother it and attacks the dragon. It is about to die, but when it hears Jiwoo talking about his wooden stick's durability, the dragon offers him a contract that he will give his soul to Jiwoo, and a screen pops up to accept or reject it. The dragon asks Jiwoo about the ego sword if he has heard about it, but he has not, so the dragon explains to Jiwoo in simple terms that the dragon fills his stick with his soul. Then the stick will possess ego, and it will convert it into an ego sword, which gives his stick infinite durability. The ego sword is the strongest sword in Chrono's life, and Jiwoo has given up on taking revenge, but the situation is giving him an opportunity to take revenge. Jiwoo accepts the contract of the dragon. The body of the dragon disappears, but his soul is infused with Jiwoo's stick. Now, Jiwoo's stick has great ego and infinite durability. Suddenly, the Eurus dragon's army appears and wants revenge on his master, Eurus, from Jiwoo. He is ready to take revenge on his enemies and wipe them out all in one attack with his stick. The next morning, the sun is shining brightly, and everywhere on the walls, Jiwoo posters with wanted tags are pasted. A guard announced that an SS-grade national bounty had been issued for Jiwoo, who killed more than 800,000 people in a day that never happened in history. Jiwoo's wanted posters have been distributed in 12 kingdoms and 3 continents around the world. The bounty reward is 1 billion gold, and all wonder at hearing this as it's such a big deal. The royal guards arrive there with their guild master, Saintry. The knights wearing crimson capes with a white cross are the top 10 elite and strongest knights of the cross line who came there with their master, Suho, guild master of the cross line. The strongest magician of the royal family and also the guild master of the Holy Land Guild, Abracadabra, arrived at the place. The master of the robbery guild, Robin Hood Hong, came to the place, and the king of Arden Castle, Hawkeye, also the guild master of the Justice Guild, arrived. The top 5 guilds in the world are gathered in one place: Holy Guild, Crossline Guild, Holy Land Guild, Robin Hood Guild, and Justice Guild. It is the first time that the top 5 guilds alliance, whose king is also the leader of the World Union Guild, declares war against Jiwoo, the heinous player killer. Jiwoo is seeing his stick, which has ego grade and infinity durability, now. Suddenly, Eurus the twin-headed dragon's soul came out from the stick, which scared Jiwoo, but the dragon reminded him that it explained to him that its soul and Jiwoo's stick would become one. The dragon told him that Jiwoo could only see and hear it. The dragon has one head, and its other head is missing, as is its soul. Suddenly, a poster has fallen between them, and it surprises Jiwoo as he sees the poster of him he wanted. The posters of Jiwoo are pasted here and there on walls, as Jiwoo has killed more than 800,000 people in just one hit in a day. Even the dragon Eurus cannot come close to such a score. The dragon asked Jiwoo about his next move as such a big bounty reward of 1 billion gold, which is 1 billion in the real world, will let every user after Jiwoo's life, but he has no issue with it even though he is feeling like a celebrity. Jiwoo has decided to follow the concept of LHS in this situation, which means loser hiding his strength. It's like pretending to be weaker while he is the strongest. The dragon suggests that Jiwoo pretends to be weak so he will be ignored by people, but it seems cool to Jiwoo to be weak in other people's eyes when, in reality, he is the main character. Jiwoo is saying something, but before he completes his sentence, suddenly an arrow stabs him, and he falls to the ground. Hawkeye hits Jiwoo with an arrow, and he is the supreme leader of the 5 union guilds. Jiwoo is surrounded by the guilds, and the supreme commander orders the army to tie him up and throw him in jail. All the guilds are about to reach Jiwoo to tie him, and the dragon tries to wake him up to stand and fight as if they all attack Jiwoo at once. It would be trouble for him. Jiwoo stands up, removing an arrow that stabbed him, and is about to be attacked by the guilds. Jiwoo wants to live peacefully as a loser, hiding his strength. Jiwoo becomes angry and uses his stick. A yellow light covers all. It shakes the planet in space, and when Hawk opens his eyes, he finds the first capital city has disappeared and his army has been killed in just one Jiwoo's attack. Hawk sees Jiwoo alive, so he uses the summoning crystal, which can be used once to gather all the union members. All World Union guilds are teleported and surround Jiwoo with approximately 3 million people. Hawk commands all to attack Jiwoo, but Jiwoo uses his stick and attacks the guilds with a yellow lightning slash, which kills them quickly. The dragon is thinking that if thousands of people attack a man while they are weak, it makes trouble for a man. And it is common sense that even the boss of the monsters, Eurus, can't fight thousands of people at once. The World Union Guild is not even an easy opponent, as they are the top 5 guilds in the world with top rankers, and it will be a good choice for Jiwoo to leave the place, but the dragon misunderstood Jiwoo. The cross-line knights attack Jiwoo, but he uses his stick attacks by slashing, and all the knights hit out at once. Abracadabra uses her magic spell called Magic Enchantment, and disintegrates ancient magic destruction. But Jiwoo is inspired by her magic spell name, so he also named his attacks lifts, and broke through the ancient magic out of the planet. Abracadabra commands his royal magicians to be ready for the next move, but before she does so, Jiwoo uses strike. Its outcome is disastrous. Jiwoo defeated 3 million. But the result is unbelievable. Jiwoo has completely defeated the whole World Union Guild. Hawk is not able to believe their defeat, and Jiwoo comes to Hawk. Jiwoo makes fun of him, saying he will not kill him. But as expected, Jiwoo bashed his stick on the cheek of Hawk, and Hawk flew away and was killed. On that day, the battle becomes hot news among all people, not only the users of the Chrono Life game but other games too, and even people who have no interest in the games. The ground is covered with all the dead bodies, and it's a great victory for Jiwoo. A girl steps up towards Jiwoo, and we see the shadow in Jiwoo's eyes. She is the same girl goddess of life who killed Jiwoo at the start of the game. Jiwoo starts burning with the anger of revenge as soon as he sees her. The girl is standing with confidence in front of Jiwoo. The ground is full of corpses, shining with countless swords and fighting gear at sunset. Jiwoo comes face to face again with the girl goddess of life, and Jiwoo feels that's all dramatic. And he remembers what that girl said and did to him. The girl tells Jiwoo very politely that it's fate for her to meet Jiwoo again, but Jiwoo is in anger, pretending to be normal. That girl's hair color changed when she killed Jiwoo for converting her job to the hidden job of goddess of life. Jiwoo is conversing with her. After killing thousands of people, her job changes to that of a goddess of life and not a goddess of death, which is a bit amusing. Jiwoo attacks her through the ground using his stick slash, but she jumps up and appears at the back of Jiwoo. Jiwoo again attacks with a slash at the ground, and this time it hits her, but Jiwoo is surprised to see her alive. Jiwoo has become powerful, but it's a weak attack for the goddess of life to kill her. She can see the dragon's soul as well, which is strange because only Jiwoo can see its soul. Jiwoo is pretty sure of his attack's success, but even then, she has no scratches on her body. The girl told Jiwoo earlier that she is a goddess of life, and a mere human can't kill a god, but Jiwoo tries again, attacking again with a slash and hitting his stick at the ground to kill her. The continent has shaken, but the goddess of life has not been killed, not even getting a scratch. She flies up with her wing and lands close to Jiwoo, telling him to give up because even though Jiwoo becomes more powerful, he will never be able to kill her as she is the goddess of life. Jiwoo takes a step back from her to try to see how hard he can swing his stick to break this into two, but she tells Jiwoo he can't do so on this planet. Jiwoo can't kill her by himself, but if Jiwoo destroys this planet, the goddess of life will be blown out by the explosion or sent to outer space. She wonders if Jiwoo can do so because he is a human. Jiwoo used his power to wipe out the capital city today, but he didn't use his full strength. The goddess of life tells him that if he destroys the planet, he will also die along with her, and it will be called suicide bombing instead of revenge. The goddess of life asks him if he is satisfied with this type of revenge. Jiwoo laughs. He paid his life to learn, and the game follows the rule of survival of the fittest. Now it's her turn to learn. Jiwoo uses his full strength to hit the planet with his stick, saying he has nothing to lose. The yellow slashes cover the planet all around and explode it into pieces. The planet disappears, and the yellow light appears. In the virtual reality capsule room, all players of Chrono Life get logged out, and all players start showing their anger as if the company cuts the power. But a person in charge tells them there is a problem on the Chrono Life server, and a player sees an announcement message that the Chrono Life server is in emergency maintenance. Identity 1.28 is in use, and the main system synchronizes. There is only one player connected to Chrono Life, which is Jiwoo. Jiwoo finds himself in a place surrounded by binary codes and lines. Suddenly, Jiwoo hears a voice, and a shiny-haired person appears in front and says ST-389, which is the name of a planet that Jiwoo has just destroyed, and this is the planet known for its beauty in the fourth universe. Jiwoo questions the person about his identity. The person smirks and then says, God. Jiwoo has no problem with that person's identity, and asked about the black-haired girl, but God replied there are only two at the place, and when Jiwoo checked the connected players, it showed only one. God tells Jiwoo that he has killed all, and no one was able to survive the explosion. All living things have been eliminated, and Jiwoo becomes happy as his revenge is successful. Jiwoo calls Eurus the dragon outside, but nothing happens. God told him already that they are the only two who are here, so Eurus is not there. But Jiwoo questions God, who is it when the currently connected players are only one? If it's an NPC or an administrator, but it is not any of them. Someone starts intruding on them. The god leaves and says to say hello to Furry. God disappears, and Jiwoo is logged out of the game. In real life, Jiwoo's capsules open, and a person who seems like a gangster tells his details: his name, age, a weapon he chose in the game, and the duration since he has been playing the game, which surprises him. And Jiwoo thinks he is Furry, as God said to him. Jiwoo asks about the person's identity, but he tells him that he is the guy who will steal his stick. Jiwoo is a 21-year-old ordinary college student who enjoys playing Chrono Life. Jiwoo says he was a novice player, but with his luck, he made a +99 wooden stick and killed all the people he didn't like, including the goddess of life. Jiwoo also tells how a man appeared who called himself God and then disappeared. Now, Jiwoo is sitting in a restaurant with a man who has a gangster look. That man offered Jiwoo food and told him that it was the Gukbap restaurant that he often visited. It has been 15 years since that man's company was established during the early development stages of Chrono's life. That man reveals his identity. He is the president of Chrono Life Choideokbi. Jiwoo was scared because it seemed to him that the president was a gangster while he was not, and the people with him were his employees. The president explains to him that he wants to retrieve his stick because it's a bug item. Jiwoo has enhanced it, but there is only a probability of 3% after enhancing an item 10 times that Jiwoo also knows, and Jiwoo has no idea of the percentage of probability he breaks through. The president said he would take care of Jiwoo's +99 wooden stick. The next morning, in the Chrono Life near the vicinity of the front town, Goris, a level 21 monster, is fighting with 4 fighters. One fighter uses his flame to attack, and the second one uses a missile that damages the monster a bit. The third fighter, named Kyuntuka-nim, attacked herself, was thrown away by the monster, and fell to the ground. Jiwoo is sitting nearby the place of the fighting. But he is thinking of what to do now as he remembers what the president has said to him that the company wants to retrieve his wooden stick as a bug item. But when the president looked personally into it, he found it not fair, so he decided not to interfere anymore in the Jiwoo game. Whether he killed the strongest mob boss, killed 3 million people, or destroyed a planet, Jiwoo is free to do anything as a user, whether he adds Kekkakjugi to Gukbap or not. It's totally up to him. The restaurant woman came and bashed the president for saying those words. In Chrono Life, Jiwoo sees the man scolding Kyuntuka for not playing well with the hunting party. Jiwoo remembers the president's words. Chronicle Life is a pretty good game with freedom, travel, and romance. The president gave Jiwoo a suggestion to enjoy it. A man spits on Kyuntuka and kicked her out of his party. Jiwoo understands the words of the president and decides to enjoy Chrono's life. Jiwoo is about to beat those guys who kicked Kyuntuka, but he stops when he hears Kyuntuka's words. Jiwoo sees himself in Kyuntuka as she says the same words as Jiwoo said at the start of the game. Kyuntuka decided to not join any party and go alone to hunt, but as she turned back, a big group of monsters appeared in front of her and were about to attack her, and she closed her eyes. Meanwhile, Jiwoo came in front to save her and used his stick to strike upward, killing all the monsters. Jiwoo senses the feeling of sympathy. He saves Kyuntuka because it seems fun and asks her to hunt as a party.